awakens in hell. He doesn't even last 40 seconds to grasp what's happening. Before he chokes, crystal dust coats everything here. It's revealed to be toxic and starts to poison. And paralyze him is frozen, clinging to life with his final breath, but dies anyway. Suddenly he wakes up right where he started, confused by what just happened, spotting those cursed crystals circling him again. He sprints full speed, but within 5 minutes he's suffocated, and meets the same fate. Revived at the starting point, he sprints forward once more. A goblin strikes him down in an instant. Across 13 tries gives it his all. The outcome never changes. On his 14th try he simply sits, relaxes and breathes deeply. He dies over and over. With every try his life extends. On his 28th try a notification finally appears. The system warns his blood is now critically poisoned. He's gained the rare skill Poison Blood, is now completely immune to poison. In this hell his actions unlock new skills and boost his stats. Immune to poison, he examines the moss crystals up close. He sees theirs are bigger and better than his. At his humble job each piece is probably worth millions. Only days ago he was just a trash collector. He dug through dungeon soil hunting for moss crystals. For this perilous job he was paid mere pennies. Not enough for anything, yet he had no other option. Only his stunning colleague Min ever showed him kindness. She was just a flicker of light in his darkness. Nearly 30 years ago, the world changed overnight as dungeons appeared, ushering in an era where only the awakened and gifted held power. Born a zero-star awakener, was fated to remain powerless forever. Then attorney Robert Lee arrived, and handed his father's necklace. He switched on the TV, nervously toying with his necklace. Locked eyes with the man on the screen. Lee rich, admired, and strikingly handsome. His unique powers make him stand out. Couldn't stop comparing, had it all, while he was left with nothing but a worthless stone necklace. If life ever gave him a chance, he'd seize it and make it count. Seething, he clenched the stone in his fist. It started to glow. Light burst from his fingertips. In an instant, the stone hurled him into this hellish world. In the present, gathers crystals and stores them in his inventory. But the moment he succeeds, a new challenge emerges. A system alert warns, level 3 mosquitoes detected. He bolts forward, fleeing the swarm. With every stride, his power surges, fueled by his title as Hell's strongest. Mew winces as a palm-sized mosquito sinks its needle into his hand. He howls in pain as swarms of mosquitoes invade his mouth. Suddenly, an explosion erupts and he's gone. Survived for 6 hours and 18 minutes. He wakes to the chime of a level up. He completed a quest, poisoned over 100 monsters in one strike, and his poisonous blood skill grew stronger. He realizes the mosquitoes died from the poison in his blood. He falls ill and the system warns his health will keep draining. Enraged, he grabs a chair and shatters it. A glowing notification appears. He's unlocked a new normal skill. Dismantling, his illness worsens and health plummets below 10% until, at that critical moment, his last survivor in hell title activates. His wounds rapidly heal, the system announcing his full recovery. He puts his new skill to the test. He seizes another chair and activates his dismantling skill. In seconds, the chair collapses into its separate pieces. A realization strikes: if breaking things grants skills, could creating do the same? He grabs a long wooden pole. He hammers a nail in, forging it into a weapon. Then the notification he's been waiting for appears. He's unlocked the crafting skill, and with renewed determination, he's determined to build a shelter. Seated on the floor, he holds a levitating crystal moss in his hand. Must build a shelter fast if he wants to survive. As he delves into his newly unlocked inventory, a newspaper crinkles under his step. He picks it up and tries to read. The system announces he's gained a new common skill, language. His eyes lock onto a familiar name. Lee questions if he's the Lee from the guild. He wonders if this shattered place is truly his world, now in ruins. He glances at the heaps of dead mosquitoes scattered across the floor, and unleashes the dismantle skill. Soon his efforts are finally rewarded. New materials emerge: mosquito wing stingers and mosquito blood. He gathers them, unleashes the production skill, and obtains the rare hell dart. He turns the dart in his hands, guessing it's a one-shot throw. Driven by curiosity, he prepares to take down more mosquitoes, and crafts skillfully. An egg materializes in his hand. As he examines it, a new notification pops up, revealing a 50% survival rate for the egg. For now, chooses caution. He slips it into his pocket. A sudden crash startles. He peeks behind the shelter's wall to investigate. A green-skinned figure looms outside the window, gripping a heavy blade and wearing a red cap, its yellow eyes scanning the shelter. And fixate on frozen stare. A goblin lunges, swinging its sword at him. He ducks just in time. The blade shatters stone where his head was moments before. Flustered, he spots a staircase, panic surging. Adrenaline surges through his legs as he sprints, the goblin in hot pursuit. Recalls crafting the weapon. He instantly draws a wooden pole from his inventory. He swings, slamming the pole into the goblin's side and sending it staggering. The creature snarls, forcing itself upright. A notification blinks: Redcap Goblin level 20. The goblin strikes again. The blade sweeps in a wide arc, narrowly evades it. He retaliates with a swing of the wooden pole, but the goblin darts in, slicing the pole clean in half with a single swift strike. The goblin's eyes gleam with excitement as it mutters words can't understand. The creature speaks and his shock proves fatal. The goblin's blade tears across his chest in a flash. Struggling to stay upright, draws several hell darts from his inventory. Clutching his wound from shoulder to waist, he hurls them at the goblin. The goblin slices the darts in a blink, but one dart strikes its hand. Blisters rapidly swell across its hand. In an instant, the creature slices off its own hand, realizes his blood on the dart poisoned the goblin's hand. The goblin disappears. A sudden swoosh of air sounds behind him. He looks up to find the goblin soaring above, sword poised to strike. Blood sprays as the goblin's blade slices through him. Collapses to the ground. As the goblin turns to leave, it grumbles, "I thought humans were extinct." As deciphers the goblin's words, a system chime sounds. His health is under 10%. Instantly, his survivor title's regeneration perk kicks in. His chest wound vanishes in an instant. A new message pops up. He survived the first night and completed his quest. He's rewarded with a silver box, which instantly upgrades to gold as compensation for the contract's difficulty. An announcement allows him to use the to return. The next quest begins in 14 days. Grips the stone which glows instantly, returning him to his world. He opens his eyes to the steady drum of rain. Bolting upright, he returns, overcome with joy. His mind wanders to the necklace. Fueled by anger at his father, he snatches it to hurl, but freezes, haunted by memories of hell. Hurry back. Sees outside the treatment plant. She hurries over, scolding him for getting too close to the entrance. Concerned about mana poisoning, she shields him with her raincoat. She drags him in and steers him straight to the bathroom. In passing him, Mew tries to refuse, but she snaps at him, highlighting how crystal moss is deadly to commoners. Fresh from the shower, casually asks the date, answers September 11th. He hasn't shown up for work in 2 days, but 2 of those days felt like 3 years in hell. Memories whirl. One moment he's at home, the next dragged to hell, only to find himself back where it all began. His old clothes are contaminated. She leaves to fetch him fresh clothes. A screen suddenly appears, revealing his inventory. Nailed poles he crafted as weapons, crystal moss he collected, and a single gold coin. The golden box he earned as a reward. His SSS level luck upgrades the box's contents with every tap. Tarot cards emerge, some instantly reduced to ashes. Only one remained, Battle Helper, a legendary skill. Only 7 people in the world possessed legendary skills. Now he's the 8th, completely unaware of what his new skill even does. Brings him clean clothes. While he gets dressed, she's struck by how healthy he looks despite the contamination. She asks if he's an awakened, since only they resist mana poisoning. Admits he's just gained new powers. Impressed by her knowledge, he reveals a kilogram of rare crystal moss, seeking her appraisal. Her jaw drops in shock as she examines the piece. Stunned by the crystal's flawless brilliance, she demands to know its origin. Min mines crystal moss, driven solely by her research. Tells her if she wants to study the crystal, she must help him sell it. She says their large size makes them hard to sell. He snaps it in half. Furious at his carelessness with something so valuable, she snaps at him. To soothe her, reveals he has even larger pieces of crystal moss. He gives her 2 conditions. He must be the one to collect it, and the crystal's origin must remain secret. Her frustration flares again. He just can't grasp that this high-purity crystal only comes from the very first dungeon ever opened. He says the next steps hinge on the item's sales. He snatches up his bag of tainted clothes. She invites him to spend the night. The next morning, she heads out to meet the buyer. A week later, anxious about the crystal moss's safety, joins her to meet the buyer, who offers to buy the rest as well. Park steps forward and introduces himself. He extends a confident handshake. Senses the man's power, knowing an attack would be devastating. Defending won't be easy. Hell's strongest title activates as his fighting instinct ignites. Examines the crystal and seals the deal. He bows to before departing, left wondering if the shady man has uncovered his secret. Once the man leaves, mocks paranoia. A notification pops up confirming his payment. The buyer is revealed to be gathering crystal moss for Lee, the famed clan hunter. They inspect a bloodstained crystal. They say the hunter who found a crystal this pure in a 5-star dungeon can't stay hidden much longer. Lee suspects the hunter hails from a foreign clan and commands Park to trace the crystal's origins. Min and her partner. After days of relentless training, his strength soars. He could now crank out over 1,000 pull-ups with ease. Even a handful in hell sap his strength in an instant. Collapsed on the ground, he wonders how long he's been here. A message appears, 18 hours until the next quest. Has finally figured out how things work here. Time slips by in the real world as he endures his days in hell. His only frustration, never knowing why he wakes up somewhere new each time. The legendary Battle Helper skill analyzes and records his moves, boosting his precision. It's like using a game-breaking cheat code, but he knows it's his only chance to survive hell. He activates the skill and strikes the punching bag. His fists fly. His accuracy sharpens, letting him zero in on a single point, ecstatic. He realizes the skill is enhancing its knowledge of his movements. A new quest begins. Rookie's ally determined to take down all 5 scarecrows. Baffled, he questions if a newbie quest is an insult. He's already level 7. Prowls through hell hunting for the scarecrows. He spots eerie, mannequin-like skeletons frozen in place. A floating notification displays the scarecrow's level as unknown. A chilling vision of them crawling to life like spiders flashes through his mind. Summoning a hell dart from his inventory, he hurls it at the scarecrow, but the mannequins don't move an inch. He unleashes a powerful blow, but it won't move until suddenly, eerie creatures awaken, red laser eyes aglow. A message reveals their level 7. Mirroring's rhythm as they pound. As they advance, he's relieved they're slower than Goblin. On Earth, rank 7 means over 5 years of experience. In Hell, that's just entry level. Unleashing his legendary skill, he readies to annihilate them. Sweat drips down his brow as he devises a daring plan to face the horde alone. Suddenly, a scarecrow lunges at him. He fires back with a powerful punch, but another lunges, trapping him in a chokehold. As the scarecrow's grip weakens, slams a brutal punch into its jaw. Cracks appear as its skin peels away in fragments. Suddenly a system update announces level 2. 4 scarecrows hold him down, 2 gripping his arms, 2 pinning his legs. The 5th lunges at him, piercing his ribs, howls in agony as the system boosts his strength, hemorrhage resistance, and pain tolerance. His health plunges past critical, but the last survivor perk revives him. He conjures a weapon of fragile wood. Now supercharged with attack power, he unleashes a powerful blow, snapping a scarecrow's limb, but it instantly heals. The system updates, arming the scarecrows with heavy steel weapons. In an instant they ends 5-day struggle. His struggles are futile. He loses every time. Frustrated, he ropes 4 scarecrows to a pillar, ready to face them one by one. With his legendary battle aid, he targets and shatters each creature's core. Failing to shatter the core, his combat level surges to 3. Soon after, he's killed brutally, his neck snapped. A swift kick to the face, soaring head over heels, flung like a football. His neck snaps with a single devastating punch. Motivated once more, he lunges at the enemy. She swings, but it dodges. He lands a kick, shattering its face. The system updates, sparring level 4 initiated. 2 fingers shoot forward, jabbing his eyes in an instant. He slams into the wall, gripping his eyes. The creature shrieks, then lunges with a vicious bite. Sank his teeth into his leg like a wild beast. And once more he falls. In just 9 rounds, uncovers 3 game-changing secrets. The battle halts at level 4, locking out new fight variations. Plus, since it isn't lost, movement is locked. They pause to adjust when the unexpected happens. If they take heavy damage, they stop moving. Victorious in every fight, he finally conquers the quest. Shouting with joy, he glances back at the toppled scarecrows, satisfied. Even though he matches his opponent's skill, his hands shake. Battling them was like challenging a seasoned coach, not a rookie. His SSS level luck quickly lands him an incredible reward. Heaven's Cradle. Golden cloth forms in his hands as a radiant screen reveals its powers. Reviving and rebuilding. Desperate for newfound power, he ties it around his head, but nothing changes, the item is worthless. He comes back to life at full strength every time. He briefly thinks about selling it, certain a legendary item would fetch a fortune in the real world. He notices the egg he found inside the mosquito remains. He drapes the cloth over it and waits in silence. The egg suddenly bursts open. He wonders what monster will hatch from the egg. Suddenly a blinding surge. Light erupts. A tiny fragile creature lies curled in a fetal position. Red eyes flicker open. She stretches drowsily. He points at her and mocks her small size. The starving fairy seizes his finger and bites down hard. He jerks his finger away. She crashes to the ground. The starving fairy sits up as hands her a candy. But she turns him down when he asks what she wants to eat. She points at him. Her wings quiver as she lands on his arm, feeding on his blood until he gently urges her away. But the fairy insists she's only trying to stop his bleeding, and starts licking the spot her straw pierced. The fairy mocks him, dubbing him her slave. He grips her tightly, demanding to know who she is. At first she's bewildered, but then remember, she's destined to appear at the world's end and consume all life. Considers ending her life. Laughs off her claim, amused by her small stature. To his shock, she's completely unaffected by his poisonous blood. Her calm demeanor keeps his battle helper's skill dormant. Unable to match her strength, chooses to tame her as his pet. He chooses the name, approved by the fierce little fairy. It's known as the Omen of Doom in fairy lore. Where the fairy will never leave his side, lays down one rule: she must never eat a human, especially him. He lets her drink his blood, surveys the fallen and asks, are these even human? Grins satisfied. He spots a ripped scarecrow and panics, fearing he's to blame. A notification flashes, valiant energy added to his battle helper skill. Unleashes his skill, and try out the new trait on a scarecrow, smashing it to pieces. Suddenly the enemies spring back to life, labeling as superhuman and unlocking the seal. Confused by his sudden rise, he clenches his fists, ready for a fight. Instead, the scarecrow stood before him, gestures toward a wall stacked with broken furniture. As they approach, the fairy warns him of a rich, alluring scent ahead. They find a skeleton slumped in an office chair, head bowed, hand on a letter. The fairy swiftly sinks its teeth into the bone, scolds her. He reads the letter, written 3 years after the world descended into nightmare, when every child born since had perished from toxic air. Even awakened talents fell, driving humanity to the edge of extinction. It becomes He realizes this world is his own future. The letter reveals that some, including the writer, contemplated suicide and a few followed through. Questions the letter's author, uncovers a hearthstone beneath the bones. He compares it to his own and instantly spots the difference. As seizes the stone, it bursts into a brilliant glow, and marks his hand with a strange imprint. A pop-up warns him the stars are watching. Swiftly takes flight, sensing danger, is hurled into a new universe, drifts through an endless expanse, and calls out to. At that moment, realizes he's absorbed the star's fragments. But he lets down and she walks away. Handing over the shards enrages him, and Bro flips him off. He demands the system reveal the secrets of the stars he never knew, and the system unlocks the knowledge within him. Every star is ruled by a supreme being commanding their own corner of the universe. They channel their immense power to their kin through star shards, so they can grow and thrive once in power. Sensing his curiosity, the mechanism unveils a star shard in his possession. They want him by their side. Finally understands why. Stone stood out, it was a fragment, not a hearthstone. A symbol glows before. Multicolored stars swirl around him, all bringing something unique, an irresistible allure. A legion of steel hunted the serpent that shattered the old world. A world controlled from the shadows in the title Lord of Death. A notification urges to select a star to follow. Overwhelmed, he demands answers. The system reveals more. Gaul the Shattering Star is a shadowy mastermind who manipulates through secret societies, daggers, and poison. Verd the Weeping Star and Father of Sorrow leads an army of the dead, feeding on despair and broken dreams. The Famished Star is a ravenous serpent whose kin endlessly hunger to consume the world. Whispering Star, an instigator blazing in light, a dazzler in darkness, she compels even the mighty to kneel. The Conquering Star is a fallen dreamer who seeks to rule a world reduced to ashes, burning with hatred as he forges ahead, slaughtering enemies with fire and iron. Is disgusted by their personalities. The system reveals the stars care only for those like themselves. Insulted, he snaps back, blind to what he did to deserve such a harsh comparison. He convinces himself he's superior. He wonders if picking a star could change his fate. Visuals race by, flash past his eyes, a film reel showcasing the star's incredible power. A prompt flashes demanding his decision. Haunted by his trials in hell, he wonders what price comes with choosing a star. The system responds, simply follow and serve the star, guiding its kin to carry out its will. Hesitant, asks if he must decide now. After a brief pause, the response calls it a rare opportunity. The more trials he faces, the faster he grows. Wonders if a reward awaits him now. The stars immediately bristle with offense. Noticing they approached him first, he challenges their motives and insists on more time. The Conquering Star loses interest and walks away. The others give him the time he requests. The galaxy vanishes, plummets back to hell. The Whispering Star orbits him. Its sharp edge digs into his hand. He's alerted. The star has awakened his power, unlocking the legendary skill. Domination, to him it's just a bribe, nothing more. Even these mighty beings couldn't halt hell's rising chaos. Wonders if others were even more gifted than he is. If even they failed to stop this, maybe the stars forged hell. He moves carefully, watching the stars with sharp focus. After 3 days in hell, emerges stronger, yet still uncertain where he'll end up. He usually arrives disheveled and ragged, slipping through shadows to avoid being seen. One day, exhausted and worn, visits and announces he wants to buy a house. With conviction, she insists it's impossible. He's hoarding dirty money. No one expects a zero-star commoner to own such a lavish estate. The next day, he considers ways to unlock his fortune. Register an ability user and boost his rank. His thoughts wander to the star that chased him here. Why settle for one when he could have them all? Driven by greed, he'll stop at nothing to seize ultimate power. He couldn't care less about the world or humanity's survival. He craves control over the world. And men sit in silence, eyes fixed on the TV as the news reports lease announcement. The clan will be the first to challenge dungeon since North Korea's fall. After a crisis struck and monsters burst from the 5-star dungeon, the event called a flood phenomenon unleashed waves of creatures when the dungeon was left unsealed. Is a 5-star dungeon teeming with powerful monsters. Only mana-infused weapons can take them down. Most clans steer clear, but Lee's team dares to strike first. Flipping through channels, pauses, news breaks. The year's biggest talent audition opens for registration in just 3 days. The clan will use it to recruit their next member. Dungeon raid, restoring peace to Korea. The next day, amidst the packed registration line, a voice shouts from behind, urging to move. He whirls, glaring, startled. He asks, is this your first evaluation? It takes him back to his first day at the orphanage as a child. He scans the chaotic, overcrowded lines, new applicants and ranked hunters alike, all drawn by open recruitment. He asks if the man's registering, but the man shakes his head. He's just here to update his rank and boost his value. In this world, your level defines your worth, fueling his relentless drive to climb higher. Deep in thought, misses the line, moving forward. He doesn't move until the man behind him gives him a shove. Yet he can't stop imagining the doors a higher rank might open. At last, steps up only to face 3 tests. First up, a routine identity check. Next is a stats check done after your blood test. The third is a skills check testing your combat prowess. Most people start with a skill rating of 100, but that number alone doesn't make you a great hunter. For the final test, must thrust his arm into the machine. Squeeze the marble at the end with all your strength. As his fingers grasp it, a sharp crack echoes. Everyone freezes, eyes wide with shock. The moment the crack appears, the machine's numbers spiral out of control. The workers are stunned and 2 reasons immediately surface. His rank's too high or the machine's too outdated. Since it worked for Lee, the second option seems likely. Embarrassed for breaking it, relaxes as the staff calmly call it a common glitch and quickly recalibrate. He tries again, this time restraining his power. The machine fails again. This time they blame a system error and urge him to try once more. He tells them to wait, receives a paper, and now his skill review is pending. The crowd splits into 3 lines, attackers and defenders, and those with unknown or enhancement abilities. Awaiting his results, enters the 3rd group for further evaluation. The receptionist asks if he'd like to take the hunter ability test, since he already passed the basic exam. This year's test will be different, it's partnered with the clan. She cautions that being a hunter may seem thrilling. Few earn well, and this perilous path can even lead to death. Only elite hunters prosper, others must seek a different way. Isn't after money, fame, or fortune. He's driven by a deep duty to protect humanity. Dungeons may soon grow too dangerous for humans to survive. She hands him a registration kit, hinting the test involves a dungeon. Wonders what kind it'll turn out to be. Lee enters the research bureau, drawing a crowd as he steps inside. Surrounded by suited men, His team reports the Red Butterfly group, sought after by many clans but never recruited, has entered the test. Eager to join the northern expedition, they applied for the test as soon as the clan announced it. Admits he would welcome them without a test. Most of the other participants are under level 20, no match for Red Butterfly. His staff bring up our guy, a true outlier, awakened with dangerously toxic blood. Is impressed yet wary, one drop of his blood could put the whole team at risk. They choose to keep him under surveillance. Lingers in the hall. Outside the test room, rival hunters in the test. A man appears calling out his name. She hands him a small tile. He turns and leaves. Calls out, but the man walks away without a backward glance. The test room opens. Everyone is ushered into Talent Bureau's third gym, turned into a living dungeon simulation. Explains the test dungeon mirrors a 2-star Ukrainian mod. They have 3 hours to collect as many tiles as they can. To beat the dungeon test, the hunter candidates arrive. The test begins, plunging them into the dungeon for 3 intense hours. In this dungeon gym, monsters aren't the only ones in the crosshairs. Each player begins with a single tile. Monsters hold 1 to 3, collect the most tiles to claim victory. A team of contestants skilled in defense and healing invites to join, but seeing himself as a one-man army, he refuses. He's determined to win, knowing only the one with the most tiles gets the prize. Worried about being down a member while others had 5, the team urged him to join. Brushes them aside, but one member, enraged, snatches his jacket and demands. He dismisses him as just another weakling. He lands a savage punch, sending the guy crashing down as his tile goes flying. Catches it midair. He turns to the team, challenging them to do the same. The original inviter surrendered instead. He dropped his tile and retreated, much to his amusement. He pointed out there's no rule against losing a tile, and the guy our main character broke was their tank. The champ decides to spare them if they surrender their tiles, impressed by the man's quick surrender. From the observation room above the dungeon, Lee watches the entire map through a glass panel, his associate at his side. The Red Butterfly group's leader dominates. She's already claimed every tile from her own team. Observes that if her 2-star teammates unite, they can easily conquer a 3-star dungeon, as long as they survive. But is searching for warriors powerful enough to face the dungeon's monsters. Meet the Mushroom Droid. Created by the Do Industry, this android is forged from the skin of Chernobyl Dungeon's mushroom monster. Built tough with mana-repelling combat gloves. Easy to fix thanks to self-regenerating materials, but it has its flaws. Its attack power is low, especially when outnumbered, though groups can bring it down. Hunters like Red Butterfly will struggle to master its patterns, plus, the tile is buried deep, almost impossible to reach. Spots something strange on the map. Its initials on the red dot reveal he holds 8 tiles. Confronts the android in the dungeon at last, but his hopes crumble the instant he sees it. He expected real monsters, but the creature before him moves stiffly, eerily like the beginner scarecrows he once faced in hell. Exploiting its sluggish pace and poor stats, pounds it relentlessly, holding it down. He seizes its leg, whirls and smashes it to the ground. Surrounded by ruined androids, he screams, driven by utter boredom. He unleashes his dismantling skill to retrieve the tile from the debris. It feels too easy just as he realizes it. A broadcast reverberates through the dungeon. It's been just 34 minutes, and only 30% of the tiles have shifted. Ranking third is the powerhouse with 7 tiles. Next, the Red Butterfly with 9 tiles. Steps up, gripping all 16 tiles. Flips a droid's head in his hands, wishing for goblins instead of these flimsy androids. He inspects his loot, common spore flesh. He thought the scarecrows in hell were fierce. Drawn by curiosity, he drapes the leather over his arm. It wraps around seamlessly. With his crafting skill, he forges spores, common grade knee and arm guards. Inspired, he prepares to create again. Meanwhile, Red Butterfly holds second place. Gazes at the determined to overtake our hero. A swarm of enemies appears. Her supervisors. She takes her stance and unleashes a blinding burst of light. She charges through the crowd, striking and flipping with fierce precision, until she rises amid broken ground and fallen foes. The spectacle attracts an even bigger crowd, all eager to claim her hour. Ringed by foes, she coolly assumes a karate stance, daring them to come closer. Bursts in, shouting as she tries to stop her. Red Butterfly demands more tiles. Her teammate points out they already have enough for the northern expedition. 88 tiles by Red Snake, the nerd who surrendered to. Still not satisfied, Red Butterfly casts a final glance at and bolts away in a thunderous flash. Her team grows anxious. In the observation room, Lee watches performance and learns it's his first evaluation. His skill review is still on hold. Puts it together, he's the one with the poisonous blood from the report. Moves with the confidence of a seasoned dungeon explorer. He's a cunning explorer who slips into dungeons uninvited. The suited man verifies clean record and valid licenses. Suspects he's a foreigner since some places have laxer rules. Eagerly awaits. Face off against Red Butterfly. Starving and disoriented in the dungeon, sinks his teeth into Spore, the flesh of the mushroom droid. He instantly gags and vomits from the vile taste. Suddenly, he feels something closing in. A woman with a flowing red ponytail emerges, encircled by swirling red butterflies. Red Butterfly glides past him, skids to a sudden halt before him, nearly knocking him down. She asks, "Are you alone?" He jokes that 150 sidekicks await his command. She smirks at the truth and slips into a fighting stance. System blares, she's hit level 14, twice as strong as level 7. She swings, he blocks, arms crossed in defense. Her power crushes him. A crimson arc slices the air as her kick targets his face. He narrowly dodges. One solid blow could finish him. Without his battle helper skill, he'd already be down. His His skill triggers in battle, allowing to evade her attacks. She unleashes another kick. He ducks, still unable to land a hit. Driven by fear of defeat, he unleashes his valiant energy. His secret buff, a dangerous move for any human. Blue energy surges as he lifts his glowing fist. Their fists crash together. Crimson and sapphire. Rival energies explode. Their eyes lock. With a gut-wrenching, her arm snaps, she chokes back a scream. Claims her metal tiles. She lets them fall to the ground, asking if a skill broke her arm. Before he can respond, a towering woman bursts in, shouting her teammate's name and decking. Blasting him away. Dazed on the ground, he spots two figures. Red Snake, the man from before, and the strong woman lifting Red Butterfly. Red Snake presents the imposing woman as her expression changes to fury ignites as she sees Red Butterfly injured but trying to calm her. Calling her team too weak to beat him. Boldly confesses, "I did it." Suddenly the broadcast declares the test is over after 3 hours. Rankings will be announced soon, and fears his distraction cost him the top spot. Third place goes to with 21 tiles. Next up, Moo with 69 tiles. Red Butterfly takes the lead with 88 tiles, leaving both and Red Butterfly stunned by the news. Grins in victory. He realizes swiped his tiles during the punch and gave them to her sister. Frustrated, he facepalms, but Red Butterfly rushes to explain it's all a misunderstanding. Interrupts, demanding she apologize for breaking her sister's arm. Despite her provoking words, he remains calm and weighs his next move. He understands her shock over the broken arm, but she should hurt his side before blaming him, even if the fight was fair. What really gets to him is that even after losing first place, they still paint him as the villain. Determined to teach them a lesson, he unleashes domination, the legendary power granted by the Whispering Star. Darkness falls as Eerie M. Monsters emerge behind him, turns pale and collapses in terror. She spots her red ponytailed leader transformed into a monster. Bursts in and heals. Medics close behind. He realizes he's crossed the line. Flees. Lee studies every calculated move. A level 7 just took down someone twice his rank. Now they wonder if he could even outshine their top hunters. He chooses to face our champ before Red Butterfly. Beyond the test zone, regrets burning too much mana on domination. Min Lee's right-hand man steps forward. Han hands him a card, congratulating him and promising the clan will unlock his true potential. Asks even reaching the stars. Inside the car, Lee replays the dungeon fight. Faces Red Butterfly. Informs Lee that, as expected, turned down the offer. He asks if knows about the stars mentioned, but looks equally confused. Red Butterfly's group accepted the offer, advancing their northern expedition. They part ways after a brief encounter. Keeps a close watch on, still unable to decipher his true intentions. After the test, drives home and he reveals the card gave him. She's even more intrigued by the box in his lap. Red Butterfly's reward. A token of apology for his outburst. Inside are rare heavy grip gloves that enhance your defense and strength. Reveals the latest crystal moss has been sold to again. They've been hoarding it from their buyers, grows suspicious. No one needs that much ruby unless they're working for someone. He thinks about bypassing the middleman to confront his employer directly. She then asks if the box contained only the gloves. Eyeing the prize money, flips the box. A 50 million won check drops out. Parked outside their apartment, they discuss the hefty reward and the thrill of the hunter's life. Suddenly catches the scent of blood and blocks path. Instructing her to wait in the car, he slips behind the house and discovers two men lying unconscious. A silent silhouette park. He reveals that his crystal moss has drawn global interest, even from top hunters, and the men below are Japanese Yakuza after his stash. Says his actions saved from harm. He offers an alliance to the clan. The very clan rejected, are they the ones behind it all? He listens as confesses to investigating him. He finds nothing, as if every trace of him has vanished. His test methods and rare moss are nothing like a sewage worker's. When refuses again, his face darkens, he's ready to get rough. With the title of Hell's Strongest, our hero's powers become even more potent. Suddenly strikes with his wand, swiftly dodges and takes him down, long enough to swipe the rare gloves from his pocket. Claiming self-defense, he slips them on and lands a punch to the man's face. The man is stunned to see the first place award from the test in his hands. Park sheds his disguise, hurling his coat aside with a deadly glare. Suddenly prideful shifts the tide. Tunes out everything the man says. Smoothly removes the cane's cover, unveiling a sleek razor-thin blade. His battle helper triggers the moment sword comes down. He evades, but the man lunges. The cycle repeats. Springs like a frog, landing unseen behind him. But as the old man strikes, the sword slices past his face. Lunges, yanking by the collar. Unleashing his domination skill. Believing his spell succeeded, hurls him away. But he freezes as the man speaks. Too late, his blade cuts across the wrist. He collapses to his knees, confessing he never meant to kill our hero. Instead, she demands to know his employer. The odd boy bursts into hysterical laughter, reminding the infamous forgetfulness, coursing with his venomous blood. Sensing an opening strikes, he shoved his bloodied palm into his mouth. Even with all his experience, the old man clearly can't withstand poison. He counters with a swift elbow strike. A swift kick to the gut sends the main character slams into a wall, swiftly grabs a medicine bottle, and sprays it across his face. Uses his regeneration skill to heal his wrist. Surprised by his healing powers, the old man asks if he's hiding a special skill. With his health under 10%, last survivor title triggered, instantly regenerating him. Realizing brute force won't work, a frustrated changes tactics. He revisits his offer and demands to know the source of the crystal moss. Stays silent, The man urges him to join the clan. He tells to work for him since he refuses to serve anyone else. Park ignores and walks away, but now impressed by the man's skills, our bro refuses to let him go. Intervenes. He questions Park's devotion to such a weak clan, one smaller than the third-ranked Almighty Lotus, with members even weaker than those in the second-ranked Great Unknown. He mocks the clan and its leader, branding them mere media stars. Freezes, then immediately calls, blinded by ambition or lost to reality. Confident he could outdo Lee, taunts for his defeat. Before he can move, the man swiftly draws his blade and strikes. Wings slash past his cheek, slicing through his hair. He reveals the clan's hierarchy, with Lee reigning as the strongest. If it meant to kill a level 10 rookie, our main guy wouldn't be alive right now. Boldly vows to surpass Lee. He asks what sets apart. He reveals that Lee hit level 20 in less than 6 months. Backed by the clan and honor can only dream of for years. This is only the least he's capable of. Insulted, swears to outdo Lee in just 2 weeks. He proposes a deal, succeed, and the old man serves him. But the man just laughs it off as a joke and he strides away, resolve in his eyes. Descends back into hell, using goblins as fodder. Level up your bags. He drives his fist inside, a mouth lined with razor-sharp teeth. Its fangs sink in, choking on his venomous blood. His system declares level 15 achieved. Another alert flashes, the conquering star has marked him as his target. Tries to flip the goblin off, but his mangled hand, shredded by its teeth, won't obey. He bandages his hand, realizing he's pushing himself too far. Bursts in, eyes locking onto the wound. She swoops in and pokes it with her straw. Draining his blood, walked away. He can revive after dying from blood loss in hell, making him question if he could return to life in the real world too. Gazes at the heap of goblins, proud of how far he's come. But he still can't track down the black-handed goblin from before. Right then, he hears footsteps. It's the very goblin he just mentioned. He leaps up as vanishes. She vanished in an instant, leaving alone with a goblin seething at the sight of its fallen kin. He forges a hell dart claw from his bandaged hand, taunting the goblin with sharp words. The goblin lunges at, tongue flicking out. The goblin attacks and falls instantly after surviving 12 days. He wakes on the ground as a panel flashes. New quest, defeat the black-handed goblin. Rising to his feet, he sets a deadly trap, thumbtacks laced with his toxic blood hidden in a deep pit, ready for the goblin. He realizes too late. The goblin draws near and falls once more, killed by a fatal blow after surviving just 1 minute. On his 6th try, makes a break for it, but the goblin barrels after him, unstoppable. Breathless, he whirls around and throws a punch, desperate to catch it off guard. The goblin lashes back, slashing at him with brutal force. He thinks about hiding to level up safely after resurrecting, but his pride won't let him take the easy route. He refuses to back down, fighting fiercely even as the goblin kills him again. Days go by and the level rises.